Good evening. Welcome to yet another Cyclopath Cyclocast. Tonight I'll be showing some manual conflation techniques and talking about the algorithms as they are implemented in Cyclopath. We're looking at Highway 169 and the Rice Creek Trail. You can see that there's a nice well-connected Cyclopath road network underneath. But if we look at the conflated data, we'll see that there's a lot of gaps between line segments. The route finder will not use these line segments because they are not connected to the network. If I turn off the conflation layer, you'll see that this problem also exists in the cyclopath source data. It also exists in the agency data. So obviously the cyclopath data and the agency data came from the original, the same data set way back when. The easiest way to fix this is just to connect each line segment and call it a day. The easiest way to do that is double click on each feature and drag the vertex to the neighbor. What I'm doing here is if you want to preserve that final vertex, you can add a vertex, drag the endpoint to its neighbor, and then drag that new vertex back to where the old one was. And I turned on the cyclopath source layer so that the snap to tool has something to snap to. So when we get to the final vertex here, we want to connect it to the cyclopath road network, so I'll just drag it to that intersection. Now that was the simple way of doing it. When these segments get imported, Cyclopath is smart enough to make one line segment out of these. And the reason that is Cyclopath will look at the attributes, some key attributes, proposed, active, and the type, as well as the name. And if those all match, Cyclopath knows it can make one line segment. You'll see here that AADT varies on these. Cyclopath doesn't mind combining those into the same value. Same with source and jurisdiction and a few other attributes. Those will get combined into a comma-separated list. Now, let's say that Cyclopath did not automatically resegment these line segments. Here's a trick that we could do to do it ourselves, except it's kind of annoying. The first thing we need to do is create a new layer so that the features that we create don't overlap with the ones we were working on right now. And I guess I have to save first. So we'll save edits. And the idea here is that when we combine these into one line segment, you can't see it, but my cursor is spinning while Arc saves the data. But when we combine the line segments back into one line segment, we need to tell Cyclopath to delete the other line segments, or to tell Cyclopath that those old line segments are being combined. We can't just delete them from the shapefile, because in the conflated data you see it's a subset of the Cyclopath data. So just because something isn't in the file doesn't mean means that Cyclopath will not assume that it's deleted. Also, when you create your shapefile layer, you want to make sure that it's in the same folder as your other layer. You can only edit shapefiles in the same folder. So if I start editing this layer, you'll see that I can also edit the conflation layer, but my Cyclopath source is in a different folder. And if I try to start editing that, it'll stop editing these other ones. So I just copied what was in the view extent, so we'll remove all of these features and we will just copy over the original lines to the deleted line layer, and we have to find the delete field, and we just got to put a yes in it for each one. Now Cyclopath will see that delete is yes, and it'll find the stack ID here so that it can find those items in its database and then delete them. Finally, to merge these guys into one, we use the merge tool, but it's not the one up in geoprocessing. If you go to the geoprocessing merge tool, you'll be asked which layers you want to merge, but we just want to merge the selected line segments. So in the editor menu here, there's another merge, and what it's asking here is which attributes to keep. It doesn't combine the attributes, it just uses the attributes of one of the line segments and then attaches the geometry from all the others. We've already checked that the attributes are the same, so I'll just click OK. And you'll see that we have one line segment. And one last thing is that we don't want to use the old stack ID. We want to force cyclopath to get a new one, so we'll just set that to 0, and cyclopath will add this as a new line segment. Thanks for watching.